Hi guys, welcome to. Wait, what's like the opening? We didn't talk about that.
Welcome back.
Yeah. All right. Hi guys, welcome back to class. This week we will be going over the continuous tenses.
Writing sentences using the past, present, and future continuous tenses is an important competency that you need to know to be able to move on to ninth grade.
So after you watch this video, remember to head over to the Google Classroom, complete the assessment, and if you have any questions, reach out to us.
Now here's Jenny.
All right, we're going to start off with the present continuous. So when do we use the present continuous? The present continuous is used to talk about actions that are currently happening. What is someone doing right now, right at this moment? Here's how you form it. You get your subject, you add am, is, or are, and then you add the verb, and then at the end of the verb, you tack on ing. So look at these examples. I am working on my homework right now. They are playing basketball over there. Now let's review how to ask questions and use the negative in the present continuous. So to ask a question, you have am, is, or are, plus the subject, plus verb, plus ing.
Remember, you need to use subject-verb agreement when you're asking these questions, so make sure you think carefully about what your subject is.
Oh, thank you, Molly. All right, now if you want to ask a question using the negative, it's similar. You have your subject, and then you add am, is, or are not, and then the verb and ing. Pause the video now and write this down so that you have some review. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I need to use the present continuous or the present simple? For the present continuous, you use this when you are talking about events that are currently happening. For present simple, however, use that to talk about fixed habits or actions that are repeated. So for example, think about homework. I am working on my homework now. That means that currently, at this moment, I'm working on my homework. Now, compare that to I work on my homework every afternoon. That is a habit. Every afternoon, I have the habit of doing my homework. So, pause the video now and look at these clue words that can give you hints on if you should be using the present continuous or the present simple.
Next, let's review the past continuous tense. We use the past continuous to talk about actions that were happening at some specific moment in the past. So what was someone doing yesterday or last year or when something else happened? We're talking about a specific time in the past and what was going on at that time. So to form this, take the subject of your sentence, then add was or were, then the verb, then ing. Look at these examples on the side. I was working on my homework last night. They were playing basketball earlier this morning. Make sure to keep in mind subject-verb agreement and pick to use was or were depending on what your subject is. Now, one way we can use the past simple and the past continuous together is to talk about an action that interrupted another action that was happening. Look at this example. I was working in the library when my friend entered. I was working is in the past continuous. It tells us what was happening at the specific moment when my friend entered. My friend entered is in the past simple. It tells us the action that interrupted something else. So use the past continuous to talk about the ongoing action. Use past simple to talk about the action that interrupted the past continuous action. And we can also ask questions and use the negative with the past continuous. So to ask a question, use this format. Was or were, then the subject, then the verb plus ing. Were you talking to the teacher yesterday? Was he teaching at the school last year? Notice again, be careful with subject-verb agreement. For the negative, use the subject plus was or were not, plus the verb plus ing. You were not talking to the teacher yesterday. He was not teaching at the school last year. Again, be careful with subject-verb agreement. Finally, let's review the future continuous. We use this tense to talk about actions that will happen at a specific time in the future. What will someone be doing in the future at 4 p.m. tomorrow or next year? To form this tense, take your subject plus will be plus the verb plus ing. Notice with this tense, we don't need to change depending on what our subject is. All the subjects use the same form, will be plus the verb and ing. I will be working all weekend on my homework. They will be playing a game tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. We will be reading great books in English next year. And again, we can ask a question or use the negative with the future continuous tense. To ask a question, use the form here. Will plus the subject plus be plus the verb plus ing. Will you be talking to the teacher tomorrow afternoon? Look at the other examples and copy them down in your notebook. For the negative, use this format. The subject plus will not be plus the verb plus ing. So here's an example. You will not be talking to the teacher tomorrow afternoon. Okay, now that we've reviewed all three continuous tenses, let's look at some examples of using all these tenses together. So pause the video, look at these sentences, and try to pick out the clue words that tell you when the action is happening. Is it happening right now? Was it happening at some specific time in the past? Or will it happen at some specific time in the future? Pause the video, think about that, and then restart the video when you're ready. Okay, let's look at some of these sentences. First one, she is reading a book right now. That's easy. The sentence tells us she's reading right now. We can see it's in the present continuous. Next one, next week they will be traveling to Djibouti. So this will be happening at a specific time in the future, next week. So we use a future continuous. What were you doing at 7 p.m. yesterday? This question is asking us about what was going on at a specific moment in the past. So we use the past continuous. Great, if you feel comfortable with all three of these continuous tenses, then you can move on to completing the assessment that's on the Google Classroom. If you have any questions, let us know. Feel free to rewatch the video if you want some more review. And after you do the assessment, we'll be able to see how you're doing with this important competency. Great. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
See you on the Google Classroom.
Bye.